What is going on, YouTube? Zero Lead here. I'm back again with a new video. Episode 19 of the Disco Era U.S.S. Enterprise tutorial. Just want to thank you again for tuning in to today's video. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. I definitely appreciate that. And today we've got some stuff to work on. We are going to be picking up right where we left off, continuing the construction on our ship nacelles, aka the warp engines. And the reason we're jumping right back into this because it's quite a bit of work that we have to do on our ship. So at this point, I'm going to be bringing my wireframe lines down to the last ruler training line. And I'm just bringing a line down and making sure I'm stopping at the right point. And now I'm going to do another circle. Because after this circle, we're going to repeat the same process that we did back there. We're going to shave it in one again. And I'm just counting to make sure that I have the right pattern. Alright, cool. Let's bang out the left side of this, and then we're going to go over to the right side of our ship and then add in a circle over there. It was pretty straightforward, cut and dry. Not doing anything super crazy right now. We're literally just wiring out our ship engines. Alright, that's looking pretty darn good. Let's do the same thing over on the right side now. See that our engines are kinda sorta beginning to take shape, which is pretty exciting. I've only got a couple of things now after we do our engines. We've got to work on our bridge area, and then we've got to redo the shuttle bay, and then pretty much the outside of the ship is going to be done aside from doing detail. Alright, so I'm banging out the circle on the right side, and then we're going to zoom out and take a look. And again, we're not going off any pixel circle generator, just off of the original circle that we started with for our warp engines. So it makes it a little bit easier. Alright, let's take a look at that. Just trying to get an idea in my head if I'm having it curve at the right parts, or cutting it in the right parts to give it the illusion that it's curving. Alright, now I'm adding in my structure lines. Eventually we will go in and close all this up and actually give it a hull plating. Alright, so now we're going to repeat the same process again on the left side of the ship and get the last of our wireframe out to the area that we just added. And then we're going to repeat this process again, but slightly smaller, like we've been doing. And I'm literally just going to be repeating this process until not only do I have the desired length, but the desired angle. Okay, we're looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Now we're going to add in another layer going inward. Like I said, essentially just shaving another row off of our engines. And we'll do the same thing on the right side too. This way we can just do one and then the other a little bit faster. Alright, just a couple more rows left too, and one more. Alright, cool. Now we're going to add in the layer on top of that with a lighter gray. Actually, the white concrete just looks darker. I think at this point I'm not confident in the angle that I'm going. I'm just trying to figure out how many more I'm going to come back maybe. And I think we're going to come out quite a bit. I'm not going super fast, trying to count out the initial line slow enough so you can count it with me. Alright, so let's do a ruler line going across, just to make sure both sides match up. Alright, cool. So we have our next angle going in. And let's do this side too, just to make sure they match. See how far I'm going back on both sides. Let's get rid of that access, don't need it. And then we're going to add that extra layer. And now we're going to do the same thing on the left. And not a heck of a lot to talk about regarding this. I mean, it's pretty, you know, again, it's pretty straightforward what we're doing here. But the other thing too is that you want to be careful with your ship length, or not the total ship length, but as far as the engine length. Like I said, I do slightly make my ship engines even too long. But again, this is just going to come down to referring to your photos, your reference photos, to see exactly how long, to see how long you want to make your ship engines in relation to the picture and what looks right to you. So now I'm adding in another row of circles on our last ruler training line. Alright, let's bang out the rest of the circle, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're moving along here. We still have a little bit of time left, just over 23 minutes. I didn't get a chance to talk about in the beginning of the video, and I apologize for that. Not a super long video even. I think we're only going to clock in at about 35 minutes or so. Because I'm trying to keep these videos not super long. I think I had a video a couple of videos ago that was just under an hour, and I couldn't help myself. I was getting excited where we were in the build, and I wanted to show more. But I'm going to try to keep these videos as short as I can, but also include as much as I can. That's just going to be the thing. I mean, I know that right now I'm kind of getting somewhat lower views, but I think eventually those views are going to pick up. But one of the things is that you're not going to get a ship of this scale, a tutorial in one video. There's way too much to cover, and I mean, you could fast forward it, but then if I had figured out, for one, how to do something like that, I'd essentially be skipping over all of this stuff, you know, the meat, the real meat of the build, and going over this stuff, because that's something I noticed too. And my main reason for wanting to do a tutorial to begin with is that when I first started construction on my Enterprise, I looked up on YouTube on how to do a tutorial, and all I could find was a bunch of people running around doing a bunch of stupid stuff on their map, running around their ship that was already built and didn't have a lick of information to go off of. So I'm just trying to basically fulfill what I was looking for originally, and hopefully, you know, some people appreciate that, the time and care that is being put into these tutorials. So anyway, moving right back into what we're working on here, you can see I'm just adding in my wireframe lines, or structure lines. Definitely moving back here. Because this is essentially the second to last piece of our ship that is yet to be constructed. The only thing that will be left after this will be the area for the bridge and the angle on top of the actual saucer. Alright, let's get this bottom side done. Now, someone might be asking themselves right now why I'm not just filling in my engines, like completely, like all this open area. And basically the reason why I'm doing it this way is because as I'm going from time to time, you guys are seeing me zoom out to look at my ship. Regardless, from where I'm at, like from right now, 10 minutes ago, this could have looked really good. But right now, maybe what I'm just now adding doesn't look so good. So that's kind of where I'm at on it, that I don't want to invest a ton of work into this so that if there's a mistake or something that I don't like, then I can go back and change it. So that's the main reason for not adding in all the hull plating now, when we're just literally wireframing it out, because we're literally just trying to get enough down so that we can envision what this is going to actually look like. And then once we're set on it, then that's when we go in to fill it in. Now, I do think I make them a bit longer than this. However, um, we're going to end up shaving some off. But I can tell you, I'm pretty sure the next row that we add on is probably going to be the last one, because we're more or less at, there's almost just a little bit more that we can add right here. About, like, from here back is basically what we're going to add again, but slightly smaller. Than anything past that, it's way too long. Because that's the tricky part with these engines, is that you want to make them long enough that they're in proportion with the ship, but at the same time you can easily make them just way too big. But again, what I did to help me to keep them within proportion is look at how far they went out in relation to the shuttle bay, and then how far they come up to the actual backside of my saucer. And again, I just made a decision on how long I wanted them to be. And you can see I'm getting ready to add in another layer to cut in again. I believe this is going to be the last one. Now I don't know if we'll be finishing up our, well, we won't be finishing up our engines in this video. We might get a lot of the outside done between maybe the next one. I think we've got a little bit more to do before we get to a point before we can close in the hull. We still have to bring them out just a little bit more, and then we have to add on the back. The actual, I guess you could say, the exhaust port for your warp engines. Alright, we did our extra circle on the right. Let's bang this out on the left. We are rocking and rolling here. So let's see, now we're counting back, trying to get an idea of the last row here. Now I know at this point they're too long, way too long. I should have already stopped. But like I said, we go back and we are going to fix this. And that's the other thing, I guess, too. I mean, when you see the engines when they're done, before I change them, it doesn't look even horrible with them being long. They just kind of look like they're a little bit long. But I guess, you know, I'm going to try to be as much of a perfectionist as I can. And they just didn't look right to me, so I'm going to change them. Or I will change them, I should say, because we're not even there yet, but we will be. We are looking really good here. We've got about 14 minutes, or just under 15 minutes left in the build. Still got a couple of things to do here. I'm going to try to get as far as I can on these warp engines. So you can see I'm adding my circle here, trying to get an idea of where it's going to actually stop. Pretty simple pattern. All right, at this point I'm pretty happy with that, so we're going to do the same thing on the left. Oh, messed that up. Got to do it in reverse. There we go. All right, we're almost done with this circle, and then we're going to add in our wireframe lines, support lines, structure lines, whatever you want to call them. So we're going to get this done on the left, and then we're going to go to the right and do the same thing. Pretty cut and dry. Easy peasy. Let's bang this out real quick. See just how far we can get. We're creeping up on to the point where we're going to be working on our interiors, which for the people that have been asking me to do tutorials on interiors, we've got quite a bit of stuff to go over. Corridors is only going to be the tip of the iceberg because I'm going to show you how to do your bridge, how to do your engineering, the shuttle bay, sick bay, all that stuff. And a couple of rooms that I came up with that either were talked about in the shows or novels that were for a fact in the ship. There are a couple of things that I built. But we'll get there. So I'm adding in my structure lines, let's bang this out, and then we're going to take a look and try to verify, or just not even verify, but just kind of look at the length to see if this is what we want. We're kind of starting to wind down. We got about 10 minutes left in the build. We're getting there. Now you might be asking yourself right now if that last circle that I made at the end of my engines, if that's where it's going to end, then why the heck do I have my circle so wide, and how am I going to taper that out? And basically all I'm trying to do right now is just getting the basic structure of the engines done. Now, once I know for certain how long I'm going to make them, then we're going to do that, where we will build around and actually curve it in from the back of the engine and actually make it look how it has like that cap on the back of them. But we're not going to make it any longer than it is. If anything, like I said, in the next couple of videos, we'll be making them shorter. But yeah, let's get the last of this wire done. And take a look at her ship. For the first time with its engines. Yeah, so you can see like they're way too long. They really, I think they only come out like, I think it was like 12 or something like that back. And then there's a black strip, and then I built the taper where it comes down like this. What I'm gonna do is when we edit it from here, I'm gonna tell you how long you're gonna have to make it. But we'll get to that point when we do it. But for this point, we're just gonna kind of keep going with what we got. Because like I said, it doesn't look bad. On the TOS Enterprise, the engines were very long, you know, so I mean, if you're going for more of a TOS look, you could leave it like this, the length that it's at right now, and I don't think anyone would bat an eye at it. They'd probably be like, yo bro, that looks pretty awesome. So, you know, just it comes down to preference and what you want to do. Like I said, there's no set way in building these things. I'm just trying to give you guys some ideas on what you could possibly do and then the thinking behind it and what I ultimately decided to do. Because at the end of the day, you know, I basically consider this a hobby, you know, pretty much putting models together but in a video game. And we're looking pretty good here. You can see I'm going to add my curve now in the front. Just adding another layer here so we can add something in front of it. But essentially just shaving one row off. Even though there's not a row here, but that's technically what we're doing when we add it on. It'll be one and N. Now we're not quite to the front of that line, and the reason for that is because there's still going to be slight curve, and then there's also the orange dome to take into consideration too. But we're almost there. All right, we got almost half that circle done. Gonna make a couple of minor changes to it and fix my circle. There we go. Now we're cooking with peanut oil. And right back to where we need to be. We're almost halfway there. And then we're going to bang this out on the left side of the circle. We're winding down. We got about 5 minutes left in the build. We should have enough time to do the same thing on the right side of the ship. we're just coming 5 out. I could have left that there, but just for the purpose of keeping both sides the same, I'm going to get rid of that. Alright, so now let's finish our circle. Now it's going to wrap this one up. Alright, just about halfway to go. Alright, cool. We are looking pretty good here. Looking pretty good. Oh, I'm going to add in another row. I think this is just going to be the very last one. Didn't think we have enough time to do this, but we should. This would be a perfect video where I'd have music playing in the background, but I don't want to get hit on the copyright claim. So that is the only reason I don't have this going. But when I am doing these builds, I do usually have some type of music playing in the background, Pandora or otherwise, and I highly recommend that also. Just helps to make the time go by a little bit faster, and then, you know, make it a little bit more fun when you're jamming out. Alright, so we're just adding in our layer. We shaved off essentially. We're going one in. Alright, cool. Do I want to go one more? I don't know, maybe. Kind of tempting fate here. I don't know how many layers I want to go in. But we're going to see how it looks. Might end up looking really good. Where are we at on time? We're at the last 30 seconds or so. I don't think we're having enough time to finish the circle. We might literally have just enough. We won't have enough time to add a layer on, but we'll pick that up in the next video for sure. Okay, got to the end of that one by just by the crack end of it. But that is going to wrap up episode 19. I do want to thank you again for tuning into today's video. I really appreciate the views. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. And don't forget to check back tomorrow for episode 20 and the Disco Era Enterprise Tutorial Series, or ongoing series. Not sure how many episodes it's going to be. Could end up being 30. Well, it's probably definitely going to be more than 30 because the amount of videos that I have recorded, I'm at like number 99. But granted, not all those videos are 30 an hour minute long videos. Some of those videos are, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So it just depends um, on what I did in that recording session. But anyway, thank you guys again, and I will catch you back again tomorrow for episode 20. Hope everybody has a great day.